Proceed with the countdown.
10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3, 2.
Time's up.
It's that look. It's that look right there. That look like test me, mother. Yeah.
And then there's a little old lady.
Knives for sale.
Remember the swamp? Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, wham, chicka, wham, wham, chicka, wham,
I remember.
well, ever
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
I was like, wham, chicka, wham, wham, chicka, wham,
I remember.
well, ever
Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to Talk Hard Tuesday. It's time to get into the nitty gritty, tell you what's good, tell you what's bad, but most importantly, just tell you what's the truth. So here with me, my co-host, Stone Loki. How are you doing, brother?
Doing great. How are you doing, Pops?
It's a busy one. It's a busy week this week. Lots going on, especially for me. Rocking and rolling. We're going to start to bring in this Star Wars Day later this week. But for now, we're just going to set that aside. Talk about war games. Man, 40 years made me feel really, really old. I remember seeing this in the theater. It's always been a favorite of mine. I'm so glad that it was one that we picked. And just hope everybody out there enjoys our time hanging out with us tonight. So. When did you see this movie? When did it kind of land in your lap?
Oh, I saw it when I was a kid. I saw it when it first came out. So I saw
awesome.
it. I don't remember seeing it in theater. It's a possibility. We might have seen this at the drive-in, but if we did, I don't remember. But I remember watching after that. I was like, you got one of those, telling my dad, you've got one of those, because he had the phone modem. So he had one of those modems that you put the receiver down on the modem and you called out. So
this was one of those films that was kind of like our big introduction to like computers that were beyond where we were, right? So it's one of those kinds of things. But before we get too far into it, let's bring in Ironcaster. Hey, brother. Hey, man.
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh, it's been a good week. The family went and had the nephew had his birthday here, and things went pretty well.
Awesome. Yeah, we're just getting to it, talking about war games, talking about our first kind of experience in that thing. I was just going to say that it was really, for me, we didn't even get a computer. I mean, until I left for college. We never had a personal computer. I actually got it given to me by like a neighbor and a friend, because she was going to school and she got an upgrade, so I got her hand-me-down one, which was an Apple IIe. So all my computer experience to that point was either seeing them in a store or at school. And back then in the store, you were allowed to just kind of play with them. So like my Texas Instrument experience and Commodore, I would sit there anytime at that point, I would like race off to that area of the store, be playing on these things, trying to learn how to do different things, whatever. And you would get to test out different games. And we got an Atari later on, but obviously when it came to computers. So this movie was kind of a gateway to, whoa, look at what you could do. Look at this cool stuff, blah, blah, blah. And obviously it introduces terms like firewall. It changed society because our government was like, Maybe we should make some of this stuff illegal, because none of this stuff was illegal for several years after the movie. So it was kind of interesting what this movie did for culture and stuff like that. So, but Ironcaster, glad you could be with us, my friend. Talk a little bit about your first experience with war games, and where is this at on your radar screen?
Well, first off, like I said, for war games was kind of part of this kind of group of movies that I had seen at various points growing up. Where it would be like this, and I think it was a movie. I think it was like Real Geniuses. Is the other one? Is one of those other 80s movies that I had kind of seen together. And as for this, my first exposure to it was ultimately the PlayStation game, which is kind of loosely based on it.
Yep.
Like basically MGM license. It has an MGM license. Yep. This is like tied into it just so much so as like it's kind of, it supposes, what if like, you can bring the game home. You can play thermonuclear war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I think that we could talk about we've already slated Real Genius kind of out there, folks. So if you're a big fan of that movie like I am, because I mean it happened in my like heyday of becoming like the rebellious teen, and it was ironic because someone had given me I know that the slippers were brown. I can't remember if they were bears or what they were, and I would wear those slippers because the movie, like, oh, I guess it's cool that I can wear these to school now. So they'd call my mom because I had slippers on. I was being disrespectful or whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, Real Genius is definitely in that radar. That's Ferris Bueller, this kind of era for me where it's just like, yeah.
Bueller.
Bueller, baby.
Bueller, Ben Stein. Good.
Ben Stein, baby. Pat S. Hail, brother. Hopefully you're doing well. Yes, thank you. Hit that like, share, subscribe. Appreciate all those bells and whistles being pressed. Appreciate that very much. Hey, Claude, how are you doing, brother? Hope you're doing all right. Nos, having fun with that intro? Well, I'm trying to have fun with intros too. I've been trying to get to it. I think after I get through the Star Wars stuff, I got to get something else like that. Knives for Sale clip really, I think, hit the nail on the head. We all really think that's a good one for us. That's a keeper. It needs to stay right there where it is. So we need to kind of dig through the archives, dig out a few things like that. I think that's what the intro will become. So, Bobby, hey brother. Every time I go to Burger King, I always think of the military supercomputer that wants to play a game of chess. Yeah, because Whopper was its abbreviation. Yeah. It's kind of.
They named it after that. So they named it after the damn hamburger. It needed to whop something. We wanted it to whop something.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't know that part. Nos asking about Zelensky. Yeah. Christian Fandom Geek, how you doing, brother? Hopefully you're doing all right across the pond. Yes, Pat. Fight for the users. All right. A lot of people didn't know this, but between 83 86, Ali Shield was kind of hot. Not kind of hot. Ali Shield was really hot. Yeah, we were all kind of down with Ali Sheedy. Yes, very much. Yeah, beautiful Ironcaster is. Yeah, he's got his flowing locks. He's all showing us up on the down below there. So, my Commodore 64 couldn't help me change my grades. Yeah, I didn't have I tried during Ferris Bueller as well. My claim to fame was if we'd been able to forge documents in my senior year of high school, we would have created a fake student. I just couldn't forge. I think there were 2 or 3 documents. My goal was to create a fake student who would always be on the absentee list. And you were tardy, you would get called down the commons area. It was like a computer list they printed out and we'd call them off. And my goal was to always get Bart Steinway. That was his fake name. Bart Steinway would be the student that would be called down to the area. I got close, but I could never forge, the proper type birth certificates and things like that of that era. So that's how much trouble my mom had to put up with. Yes.
Well, that's because you didn't have the secret password to get into the school computers. Pencil, ladies and gentlemen, pencil with a capital P.
Where it's kept. Where I know where it's kept. Well, that's part of the problem is I did have access, but there was no secret computer and code to give me access to make someone. But we got close. The Pops have those big old 8-inch floppy disks. You know it, baby. And you could store those things in a pizza box. Yeah, I did. And I can tell you that my first big boy job, I remember being called into the senior VP's office for something positive. It wasn't a negative call. I go in there and he had one on a wall and it was framed. And this was in early 2000s. And he says, when the computer, well, one of the early versions of that company's computer was backed up on one of those giant floppies. So he was in charge of the giant floppy. So once it got past that technologically, he was able to keep an actual copy for himself. So he had this big framed matted giant floppy on his wall. That's the last time I actually had access to one. So morning, Hayes. Hey, brother. Hey there. What's going on? Hayes. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see. Hail to the Triumphant. Chris Burge out there rocking the mod work. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate everything you're doing. And let's see here. DJ Ronnie G. So I knew more about the MSI 8080 computer than I do about War Games itself. Yeah, it takes you back. It takes me back. So cherish the floppy disk of the game Oregon Trail.
Who
Wow.
didn't? Who didn't? Nosferatu.
Yeah, Brand Looney Tunes here. Hey there. Awesome. So tons of folks rolling in and out of here. So Ironcaster is teasing us already with the photos. Yeah, this was fun on nostalgia level in so many different ways. Ironcaster, when you experience a movie like this, does it give you a lens into us like 50-year-old nerds? Like, does it give you like a lens into what life was really like and how good things are now? Maybe he's muted. He'll come around in a moment.
Yep. So the thing is, like, I'm watching this and I'm my mind is just going back to The Wizard as another one of those movies, kind of all right around the same time that comes to mind for me. But you know, it's a much simpler time though. Ultimately, everything's not always connected, always tracked. You're able to kind of just disappear into the background for a while.
Yeah, escapism was really a lot more about escapism for us. Like, you know, and I thought this was actually a fun scene the second time when he's playing Galaga and then he hands it off to the little kid. Like, do you want to pick up where I left off? My goodness, if somebody had done that, that was a big deal. My goodness.
Oh, yeah.
They got you to like that level, the bonus level where you're 50, 60,000 points into it and someone would hand it to you. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. So yeah. Yeah. Many hours were spent in an arcade by me wasting my money on games like this, whereas now I thirst for it. So what about you? Go ahead.
You couldn't have this at home. So as much as this was like touted into, oh, well, we're going to give you an Atari or we're going to give you this, you didn't have this at home. You didn't have this on home computers. No matter what anybody said, the graphical, the technology was not there. These cabinets back in the day, these are all custom for the game they had. They were made for the game that was on them. There was no, oh, well, we'll just undo this and throw something else in there. They were made specifically for the game to run them. The closest you could get on some of the early stuff was the dot stuff, and that's it. You didn't have anything like this. So arcades were super special, man. It didn't matter whether you had an Atari at home or not. You got a chance to go to an arcade, you were at an arcade and everything was popping. It was louder, it was visually more active, it was brighter, everything just grabbed you back then. So yeah.
I was such a heathen that I wanted to be part of the church youth group because they would go to the bowling alley. They'd take kids on bowling trips, and it was a chance to hang with the girls and go to the arcade and play pool, those kinds of things. Didn't have it at home. Yeah. So no, you're absolutely right about the technology too. Like, I mean, literally, like I said, I mentioned, like by the time I got off to college, about the late 80s into the early 90s, we still didn't have any video games at home that were on the scale of like playing Galaga and Centipede and Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man and you know, all that kind of stuff. It just didn't happen. Your Atari and stuff like that was still in a very primitive phase for something that could be at home. Bobby's really right here too. The 80s movies made it look like it was easy to hack. Now, I will admit, like Weird Science and Wizard, you know, others, it kind of piggybacks off what War Games had kind of set in place because they actually had, you know, a professional hacker who wasn't allowed to talk about whether or not he had hacked into a military facility or not. So I think some of the groundwork had been set for people in the lexicon to kind of like get a feel for what it was without having to spend screen time on it. So with Weird Science, we didn't have to watch them try to figure out what phone numbers to call or what the passwords were. We just kind of assumed that some of that stuff had already happened. At least that's at the time. That's kind of how we looked at it. I don't know about you guys watching them in hindsight, because obviously when you watch these things have been out, you're kind of so much of your life already. It's a little hard to kind of gauge your perspectives. That's why I love these back and forths about it.
Well, they named, okay, so just so there's a thing he does in this movie that we know today as war dialing, okay? It's an automated dialing program that dials up, there you go, all these numbers, right? It's named war dialing because of this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right? Because of War Games, they named this shit war dialing. And it is the basis for every auto dialer, auto call, all that crap you get today, where they just generate a line of numbers in a computer and start dialing. This is where this shit started. It's an accidental byproduct of this movie.
Well, and like I said before, the government, this wasn't illegal, right? So the President Reagan was shown this, and he loved it, but he also was like freaked out by it. And it took several years for them to get enough legislature through and enough rules in place where some of this stuff wasn't technically on the books at being illegal. And there's different acts and stuff like that were kind of in place and rushed through because this was a movie that kind of broke through, I don't want to say secrecy, but at least some of it. Ironcaster?
Yeah, I was trying to find some information. I was remembering a story I had heard from around this time where people were using like either like a whistle or a kazoo or something that was able to, similar to something we sort of see in this movie, were able to effectively dial in and basically get free access to the internet just by using this certain tone.
Okay, so what that was you would record the tone that the handheld device made while you were putting quarters in it. Okay, so that gave you access to where all you had to do was repeat that tone into the receiver, and it thought that a quarter was going into the phone every time you did that.
Yep. Actually, that's not what I was thinking of.
Well, there's another one, and tell me if this is the one, because I remember this vividly because I had a friend who was always trying to do this. There was a cereal, and guys in chat, look it up. I think it was Captain Crunch, and there was like a whistle, and he would use this whistle, and it was similar to what happened in the scene where David is like playing with the lock, and he's playing the tones, it's kind of like in between the two things, and it had to do with this silly Captain Crunch thing. And it was a way of activating some of this. So again, you guys in chat will help us kind of fine tune some of those details, but maybe Ironcaster will look it up for us.
I actually just found an article about it.
There you go. Okay, so there you go. Is it Captain Crunch? How good is my memory?
It was Captain Crunch.
Hey, listen, it's because I love Captain Crunch, to be honest. It's actually not as hard to remember because I don't eat like 16 different kinds of cereal. I only like 5. So go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, like I said, it's just I was remembering something relevant to this that, watching WARGAMES, I was remembering, oh yeah, there was a story about some people had used a whistle or a kazoo or some little instrument like that. They got out of like a box of cereal. They were able to apparently take over phone lines.
One of the hackers is nicknamed after it. Actually, I don't remember all the details, but there's a hacker that's actually nicknamed. While you're looking, we'll say hey to Zach. He popped up in here. Hey there to you. Louis Sparrow. Hey lady. Zach's saying Yana Skull.
The cereal box whistle, it turned out, played at 2600 hertz, the perfect tone to commandeer a phone line, allowing the caller to enter an operator mode. The toy whistle became iconic, and Draper nicknamed himself Captain Crunch.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Let's see. Padawallaby's here. Says there is still to this day no other sound like a walk-in arcade. It is definitely mesmerizing for us. So.
Although I think I do have one sound that is just as memorable.
Shall we play a game?
Oh, it's beautiful. I get so excited when that scene happens. And he gets excited, like you could see, like when he does it, and then it asks him, and you could see him get excited. I'm like, yeah, that still works for me too. It still works for me. Hail to Larry, hang in there. I know. I actually, the biggest thing of if I had regrets on the Pops era, It's when Loki, you had your meetup and you guys were going to go to one of those arcades that are still out there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that I miss doing. I'm actually thinking about that with the littles. I'm trying to figure out a field trip to go to an actual arcade and just, drop a roll of quarters, man. Let's have some fun. So let's see. Reasonable for all the messages I get out of my auto warranty expiry. Oh, fun. Yeah, this is the 2600 Hacker Quarterly. Yeah. Oh, DJ Ryan G also knew it was Captain Crunch. Shield Wall's here. Hey, brother. Let's see.
Yeah, if you get a chance, if any of y'all are going to Dallas for the meetup, definitely go by a Free Play Arcade. There's a couple of them in Dallas. That's where we had the Valhalla meetup. Absolutely awesome place. I know there's some places where the arcade bars are kind of cheap and really run down. This is not that at all. They have awesome games. Almost all of them are always working. Lots of pinball, lots of arcade. Really cool place.
CBR is here as well. And yeah, Pat is mentioning that Smurfberry Crunch had these lead slugs and they would work in Coke machines. Yeah, there was actually like a token, and it wasn't the big two. It wasn't like Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza. It was some other token, and it was the same thing on the soda
Peter
machines.
Piper's Pizza.
Something
Peter
like
Piper's
that.
Pizza.
Yeah, they would work on all that. So
because
yeah,
was
big
the
into
same
pinballs.
size and weight as a quarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, for some reason, you could remove the cover of the earpiece, insert a safety pin, touch the safety pin to the metal hang-up mechanism, and you can make free calls. Yeah, that actually went on for a very long time. They didn't figure out how to get rid of that situation. Best line of the movie was the launch warning. You hear the whopper, full retaliatory strike. He was like, I need a GD machine to tell me. Yeah, I know. Barcades are fun.
In my professional opinion, your machine sucks.
Your machine sucks. Yes, I know. Lead in cereal. Yeah, surprised we all survived. Yes. All right, so on the rewatch, Ironcaster, what was your first impression? What was like that first segment of the film? You have like basically about a half hour to 40 minutes of setup about David, arcades, he's a hacker, meets a girl, we're gonna play, he thinks he's playing just a video game, blah blah blah. It doesn't get really hairy until after that. What's that feeling like for you? Because I was like really immersed in our sort of like talk hard mode where I'm watching backgrounds and details and stuff that like I'm like, it's even better than I remembered. It's every time it's better.
Yeah, no, I'm always looking at the backgrounds in these movies, but it's like it feels so much. First off, it's just seeing such a young Matthew Broderick. Like, I mean, he's always kind of managed to maintain like about the same look for so long. It's like he always kind of had this sort of baby face.
He has such a sweet charisma about him in this era of film. That's like this little 7-year period or so where all of them are just like this. He's like this, it's just enough. It's enough of cheekiness with also like cleverness and appeal without it. But like, and he was like an icon for us because he was like the nerd that was getting these hot girls. So like, of course, everyone loved all these different roles that he was doing, things like that. And hey to Daryl, like, hey brother. Yes, the line. Someone look and see if there's shirts. I don't know why, if I don't have a shirt like this. I mean, I got to figure out how to get it past Mrs. Pops, but my goodness gracious me. Absolutely love that line. It's freaking great.
Look, I don't know what happened. Someone just sent it to me. It was a gift.
I did have a box opening. I got a box opening. I got uploads. Someone sent me a box. So, stuff just showing up nowadays. I don't want to tell people. So yeah, it was, it's so good. I always keep going back to how herky Ali Sheedy. Yeah, Ali Sheedy, man, especially in this movie, but no, she's on a run. She's on a run with this. You obviously before you get to Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire and stuff like that. Short Circuit, which is the same director. So yeah. This is Matthew Broderick before his audition for Fast and the Furious.
You mean before he became a horse tamer?
Yes, it's good, Zags.
I thought he was Nick Totopoulos.
Well, that's a different film franchise altogether. He's the worm guy.
The worm guy.
What do you think he gets? I would love to, if we could have him on, wouldn't it be great to be able to have someone like him on? Because you just like would love to know, because you're going to have it with a career like his. There's so many things that people would or could say or yell out to you, or photos that they would want signed. I'd love to know like the list, like what is the hierarchy of the list of what people want you to say or sign or see, you know, that kind of stuff. Because he does have sort of like, he may not have the resume of like the greatest films of all time or whatever, but he's got like a great resume of like 10 just classic fun movies that we love rewatching.
Yeah, he could easily alone have one of those like 10 packs. That like I'm surprised no one's gone and done like the Matthew Broderick 10 pack, because like I'd buy War Games and The Music Man and even Godzilla all in a pack together.
I bet that they don't have rights to all of them. They're probably 3 different studios. I didn't look at the details, but usually that's probably what it was. The studios don't own but pieces of that library. So, Loki, what was that first part of the film for you as far as setup goes? Because you got that nice introduction where there is a lot of the plot points moving forward, but we're not focusing on that right now. We're going to focus on a lot more of this character development and this love interest and that kind of stuff.
Pencil.
What is the wait? I'm sorry. What effort? What's the one in between there? T-bents. What does that say?
Effort points.
Aren't those like biscuits? T-bents.
Points. Oh, points. I see the P is with the line through it, so it's effort points double pencil. I can't see the one above that, but all right, cool. Pencil.
Points. Gotcha. Now I see it.
Yeah, it takes a minute because the way the ink pen goes across the bottom of the P.
Yep.
Yeah.
Passwords.
No, I didn't have that. Didn't have a secret access to the whole supercomputer. I did get into the computer, but I couldn't get through fraudulent documents. But so, what do you think, Loki? How was it like rewatching? I don't know when you've watched this film last, and what it was like, kind of revisiting that sort of like setup aspect of the film.
I probably haven't seen this in about a decade, maybe even more.
Wow, cool.
It's been a really long time. So, phones on modems, God help you. Connecting to the internet like that. There is no internet, guys. Nope. So this is like everything's a standalone, but it's hooked up to a phone line. So there is no like information superhighway. There is no, hey, I'm going to look this up on my, no. A computer can talk to a computer. That's pretty much as far as you're going to get, is your computer talking to another computer. That computer might talk to a bunch of different computers. But this is the wild, wild west of the internet. There is no government looking down on you. That's why Pops was saying that Reagan saw this movie. He was like, okay, I guess we're going to have to come up with some laws. There was nothing like that back then. So there was no information sharing. It was computer to computer. Kind of like a local area network is now, but over phone lines.
Yeah, so this is a quote. So this is Congress. They were passing the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1984. Representative Dan Glickman, a Democrat from Kansas, he says, quote, "We're going to show about 4 minutes of the movie War Game, which outlines the problem fairly clearly. And it was about showing the realistic representation of the automatic dialing and the access capabilities of the personal computer." This is where we ended up with terms like firewall. Basically, let's be honest. I mean, even after the 80s, we were on to the 90s, and most of us didn't totally understand what a backdoor was and exactly some of this connectability of how you could circumvent even like rudimentary security, because there's always fails. There was always little things that you could do to get in. So, yeah, this is this movie is such a game changer. It's crazy. Padawanebe's talking about his dialing device. Oh, the one that he uses, the big one?
Oh, yeah, we used to have one of those.
Yeah, I had friends that had one too. Yeah, classic Girls Next Door, and I know Nas. Jana's here. Hey, lady. Hope Mama Catania and Princess Catania and stuff are all doing well. You have to text me an update there. Let me know how everybody's doing. Let's see here. Ferris Bueller references. Yeah, that needs to go on the list of things to do. We just got to have a special stream for something like that. I'm massively a fan of that. Shield Wall throwing out his film Glory. Yeah. Let's see. Biloxi Blues. Man, I got to be honest. Biloxi Blues is one of those like almost like cultish movies that most people haven't seen. And the very beginning of the film, when it's really comedic, is so wonderful. I love the beginning of the film. I think it kind of loses its identity, doesn't quite know exactly what it wants to do. But modern world would die 9/11, and sometimes cops would come knocking. Sometimes. That's true. Sometimes. Yeah. You would have, we didn't even talk about it too, because similar to what would happen, I should say that this is how primitive things were before this. I don't know if they were gone by then. You guys know what a party line is?
Oh yeah.
Where you basically are sharing a line with neighbors. Yep. And, you would pick it up and there'd be people on your phone talking already. You could eavesdrop. You would hear the click, click. So, but you had people knew how to like push the lever, right? So people would eavesdrop on other people's calls. And anyway, so yeah, talk about Wild Wild West is an understatement of communication in this country.
So what you would get is you'd
ZBR,
get like
homework
farmers
ZBR.
and farmers and all that out in the middle of nowhere towns that only had 1 or 2 phone lines. It was almost like a public phone line you were all connected to. So like Pop said, you'd raise that receiver up and you could have your neighbor talking and be like, Louise, I've got to make an emergency call into town. And I mean, if it was an emergency, you'd just tell them, they'd hang up, and then you'd hang up and you'd have to pick back up and tell the operator who the hell you wanted to talk to. There was no, I'm just going to dial Fred on the dialer. You had to tell the damn operator who to put you in touch with.
And even in the city, because I'm referring even to the city into the 70s, probably the very early 80s. If you were like a duplex or an area like that, maybe homes that were this close together or whatever, you would still have party line stuff. I had a friend who had like a mobile home situation where there were like several mobile homes that were near each other. They would have a party line. Now, it wasn't the whole thing. It'd be like 4 homes and there'd be a line, something like that. So it wasn't quite like you were saying with the rural system where you might have 30 to 50 people on one big line or something like that. This was even in the cities into the late 70s and 80s. Someone like, I don't know, you guys that are out there, Zach's, maybe you guys could speak to this a little bit too. Like give us a little bit of the framework of how the technology communication was. So Louis Sparrow, homework for you as well. Haven't seen War Games in years before Ready Player One came out. So I got the DVD then. Cool. Very cool. Reagan, the side of smoke. Yeah, I know. Let's see. Tons and tons of back and forth. Cannoli Sasquatch is here. Yeah, party lines are crazy, man. Yeah, Shield Drag. The operators could listen to the operators did listen to every single call.
Yeah.
There's no they could. They did. Yes.
There's a reason why, a lot of the classic cartoons and shorts would have you would have these very gossipy phone operators.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or you knew someone that did it for a while. Just saying.
No
ZBR. Wasn't really a prank call kind of kid. I was a prankster in more. I wanted to make sure I could enjoy it. And a prank call isn't the kind of thing I can enjoy. I was definitely more malicious than that. So
yes, Mr. Pops, this is Lancaster Plumbing. We've heard you had a little plumbing problem down there.
My refrigerator running?
Well, no. Well, you sound full of shit, sir.
Yeah, I know that wasn't me. No, I'd be the one to be like, pardon the interruption, students. Can Stone Loki please go to the principal's office? Stone Loki, please go to the principal's office. I wonder why he got called down there, because it's something that I planned it on him.
Pops did it. He was a narc.
No. Didn't have to be a narc. I was a framer. Especially if you wronged me. Revenge was a dish best served cold. So it's what you do when you're a nerd and you anger the people like the football team so you can get 2 or 3 on your side, and then you're good again. So long distance is a very big deal. Oh goodness, yes, that was definitely a while. So no, Ironcaster, I wasn't shushing you, by the way. I was shushing a comment about Nos and I talking privately or something. It was kind of funny, but it wasn't for you, brother. Sorry, it was not you. Let's see. Yeah, do you have Prince? Yeah, you better let him out. Yeah, I know. Crazy man squatch. Good. Yeah.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can? Well, you better let him out.
Mouse Sislak.
Oh, so good. So good. And I will say this was a weird moment. I'm glad you pulled this up because I had kind of forgotten this moment where she kind of goes over and she's sort of like caressing the screen a little bit. You're just like, I don't know how to take this scene. I thought it was kind of odd, but then I thought to myself, I guess there was something kind of like awe-inspiring about watching computers do things like this back then, because it really was definitely their first time you experience it. It was kind of a big deal. Like this was again, you remember, if you ever met someone who had the robo dialers and these kind of computers and you had this kind of stuff, they were really, really sparse. This wasn't like a common thing. So once you kind of first go down this rabbit hole and you find someone like this, so anyway. Okay, so that kind of takes us through. I will say this: I love the naivete of the character in 80s writing, because it was like he knows he's caught, he knows it's gone sideways, and his solution is to throw away the paper. He's just bundling it in these trash cans, which, as though they won't go through the trash, but it was just like, reams of this green print paper on these dot matrix printers, which, by the way, were well used well into, I want to say, even the mid 2000s. They were still pretty common.
Oh yeah,
still very common. Yeah,
we had that at the job I was working at in Decatur. We had old DOS computers and the dot matrix printers. I called it Aztecware. That was in 2007, 2008, 2009. It wasn't until the 2010s that we got a whole new computer system, but they had to have like a whole new back end. They were stuck with all this old shit, all these old DOS computers, because that's the system they used for their company. So,
oh yeah. Well, I remember in 2005, because part of what got me like longevity with the company that I'd worked for in the early 2000s to 2005 was I was part of the team that rewrote like Access software to run queries. So these giant mounds of paper would be these printouts that would be like this. And it was like this massive deal back then of this cost savings of being able to just get rid of all this dot matrix nonsense and be able to have these little tiny laser printouts of like 4 pages compared to the reams of this green sheet paper. It was crazy. So they're all cracking up with our principal jokes. So yes, Seymour Butts, please come to the office. Seymour Butts, please come to the office.
Huge as.
Hooge and kiss? I don't want to do it wrong.
Hug and kiss.
Hug and kiss. Okay, Amanda hug and kiss. Is Amanda there? Amanda hug and kiss. I'm looking for huge jazz. Huge jazz. I always think of the huge Ackman joke in the one of the Hugh Jackman jokes. Yes, Nas. Yes.
Well, because we can't be talking about all these if we don't bring up everyone's favorite puppet, Mike Roch.
Oh yeah, well, we want to be careful. We say his name 3 times, he just pops up, so you never know.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know. On Pops' channel. Oh boy.
Not that guy.
I remember punch cards. Yeah. Punch cards. Yeah, Shield Wall. Yeah.
And I'm now telling the computer exactly what it can do with this lifetime supply of chocolate.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You usually can't get a lot of that through, but every now and again you can. I think I have it. I have it loaded because this is an actual clip. Let me see if I have it handy. So, this is an actual clip, guys. This is actually a very small snippet of about 2 minutes of an actual, what is it called? A school board calling names at a public hearing.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken, Ophelia McHawk, Eileen Dover, Wayne Kerr,
Yeah, it still works even in like modern times. People still fall for this nonsense. So yeah, there you go. You had to know how to code so you could get even more computer things. You couldn't just type in words. Yeah. And actually, it's funny because the movie does oversimplify that, right, Padawan? Like the movie does, and I think even Weird Science is very simplistic with how they present this as though this is how it would be. When reality was, we had to know, a lot of basic and Pascal and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I just really quick wanted to bring up. This is one of my favorite little moments that it feels so normal, so sort of the time, where Matthew Broderick's coming to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad's going and he's making the corn.
Oh, he butters the bread to use it to butter the corn, and then he finds out the wife didn't even cook the corn because she's some crazy 80s health fad nut. Yes.
Yep. When they're boiling everything, God help you if you grew up in the 80s and your mother used to boil everything. I mean, everything.
Everything.
You go to eat a pizza and you be like, what's wrong with the pepperoni? I boiled it because it's healthier. Ah!
Well, and there was no microwave in 82. They'd filmed in 82, right? So there wouldn't be a microwave. Didn't see a microwave really for another few years. So yeah, they would have she would have been boiling the corn. So if she just boiled the freaking corn, it would have been good. But no, it's raw. So yeah, there are all sorts of crazy 80 fads. Oh my god. The only thing that would have made this even better was if they had some Tupperware, some things like that involved as well. So
and then she's got to have a really terrible like exercise routine she's like trying to get into.
Yeah. Yeah.
The burping Tupperware of the 1980s.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He does have those corn cob handles. Yeah. So you do get to see them a little bit, but I got to be honest, those again were kind of like one of those weird fad things. Everybody had them. And I'm still sort of like, I want those too. Like every now and again, I'll see some sort of weird, we'll do corn on the cob and it'll be like, what is this? What is this? What is this holder thing? Where is my corn cob holder thing? I'm not using this.
Pigs.
I'm not using these weird knockoff things. I want my little corn cob things. Yes. So
if you had a mother in the 80s that took Valium and you had a summer vacation, you know what you were in for. Mom, where's lunch? It's in the burping Tupperware. Burp, burp. Potato salad.
Oh, Jan, it was sort of like a thing. It's not even like there's any like shame. It's just, it was so ubiquitous. And I think we still have some because the lettuce crisper Tupperware thing that's still like that because you have to push the middle down. I think it would still count. It's still more efficient than the other stuff that they've tried because they send me. That's how they send me my salad. Is we'll put it into there. So crack some ice trays and take me back. Yeah, and Pascal references. I know, bro. I know. Fortran. Oh yeah, yes. Remember those news reports a few years ago? The newscaster reading a list of fake news. Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if we did the holy fook, the way too low on this channel or this show, but yeah, that's one of my favorite clips, like of all time.
Bang
all time.
ting ow.
Yes. Yeah, because she read that live on the air. My favorite clips. People try to talk about the media. We should listen to me. No, we don't. Here, let me give you some proof, and that's one of the most. Yeah.
Ben heard over.
Yeah, it's nuts. All right, so let's kind of jump pretty far now because obviously we're want to make sure we get to this last segment of the film where this is still the setup stuff where they're sort of like figuring things out. I think he was drinking a tab at one point. I'm not sure this is a tab, but at one point he does have a tab.
Oh, dude, tab.
Oh gosh.
I ain't gonna give you a tab unless you pay for something.
Yes.
You haven't ordered anything, kid. How can I give you a tab if you haven't ordered anything?
Oh, we have to do a special Back to the Future day. I'm not sure I could do this Star Wars thing for all of them, but Back to the Future deserves its own day because of all the references, its own stuff. Gosh, I love that so much. Yes. Oh, this guy. Oh, he's so good.
I couldn't take my eyes off his teeth.
He is something special, man. That guy, he's still going, man.
He is. He was in the ranch. He was in the ranch. He was the veterinarian for all the cows in the ranch.
The Tulsa King?
No, the ranch. Him. He was in the ranch.
The
show called The Ranch with Sam Elliott and the kids from that 70s show.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that one. Okay.
But no, I had my anytime this guy was talking, I kind of caught him talking. I'm like, what is up with his mouth? Did he just Did he smoke cigarettes or chew them?
It was tobacco. It was chewing tobacco back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what chewing tobacco gets you, children. His teeth like that.
Well, he is now. He is on Tulsa King and he's on Yellowstone. He's one of the cowboys.
Yeah.
So it's not. He's not off brand by chewing some tobacco. No. So. Yeah.
It's the character you kind of assume is going to, that in like a more modern movie they would play him up to be the big bad guy somehow, and like, oh, it's all his fault just because he's the military guy. He's got all the he's got all the medals on his lapel. It's, this is a guy that you would assume that in a more modern movie, this guy would have to be made evil. I mean, it's like that's just an unnecessary step.
Yeah, Matt, he's part of Yellowstone and Tulsa King for sure. So go ahead.
You would think that NASA would have someone there that knows how to communicate with Voyager, to teach whoever's going to take over their job how to talk to Voyager. God help me, man.
I know.
That's just it. Yeah.
I don't know. I could probably relearn it. I don't know how much they're going to pay me because I'm not going to relocate. So if can I work from home and they could just give me if I had like a tutorial in Fortran, I could probably catch up in a couple months and be good to go because I haven't had it in so long. But the files are still in my brain somewhere. Just got to dust them off. This is one of the days, Chi. Yeah. It's just there's tons of those. Yeah. He was actual military, so he kind of pulls all that off so perfectly. So. All right, so this is after David's been arrested, and they bring in Dabney Coleman to play good cop. And then ultimately, they kind of move him to a different room. And it's funny because it's just like this is the 80s, right? So it's like this is the building that we can film in, and they have to adjust the script on the fly to put him in like a medical office instead of like a regular interrogation room. And this guy has literally got like the floor to ceiling blinds and this big comfy. It's like it doesn't fit what NORAD would look like, but at this point, they weren't allowed to be in there, so no one knew what NORAD looked like. I think the director is the one who talks a lot of smack. I think I saw our interview with him a few weeks ago after we decided we were going to do this, and it was like he was talking smack, like our movie was like what NORAD's wet dream would have been. Like they had such crappy facilities, allegedly, than what the movie was. They were kind of like, we needed some upgrades.
Okay, those giant screens. Every one of those was custom made. Okay. Every single one of those screens was custom made, and everything you see on them took about 7 months to make. And you really see that. This is not green screened. This is not something they added in after the fact. These are super bright monitors that they created just for this movie to show the like thermonuclear war and all that stuff. 7 months. It's almost like the entire time they're filming, they're just working on the graphics you're going to see on those screens. That's crazy. That takes somebody like all of, a few days now to do, but it took them 7 months to make all that.
And there's a dude inside Whopper to make Whopper do the things that Whopper does. He's using an Apple IIe inside. So there's a dude inside Whopper running Apple IIes to make it do the things it's doing. That was what we would do to go through to make movies back then. It's so beautiful. There's so much that goes into that to me, because it's like, how could we make because the thought process is, okay, gentlemen, so how could we make this work? And then you come back to me and you let me know, well, we can have Charlie. And Charlie's going to climb inside this box, and here's what he's going to do. We'll have a test for you on Thursday, and they're going to show you what it will look like. And that was how this stuff was getting done back then. It's great. I love that so much. Did you hear all these stories, Ironcaster? Are you privy to like the history of how crazy it was that they were able to pull this movie off this way?
No, I had no idea about that. I think it's super interesting. Kind of, I love getting those little stories about the nitty gritty about how they actually managed to pull off some of this stuff.
Oh, it's only just begun. Got to keep going. There's more. So,
Like this is what kind of this is kind of harkening to something what Loki was saying earlier about.
This is very much what Loki was saying, and kind of like what Zach's was saying too, and just it's kind of a lot. And I know this is one of those things where I could see a lot of people watching this and go, that wouldn't work. That's ridiculous. I'm thinking that actually did work. That actually would work. And it's crazy they were showing you that it would work because all it did was make people run around and try to find ways to make sure it would no longer work. So, yeah.
So to kind of touch on one or two things, they were able to track down David's computer history, everything he had been doing. They happened to find the plane tickets that that they were kind of jokingly booking, which helped land him in some extra hot water when they brought him in, thinking he must be a spy working for the Soviets. Why else would he have these 2 tickets?
Right, boys working for the Ruskies.
Yes. I mean, this is total Cold War propaganda film, absolutely. So, but it was so great because again, we love the fact that there's a setup and a callback. We just don't do things for no reason. We don't leave them in there for no reason. And you have this, cheesy scene with Ali Sheedy's character doing these plane tickets. And next thing you know, it makes him look even more like an operative because of this history that they've been able to track down. So,
Pops, can I ask you something?
Of course.
Did you ever have to do the drills when you were a kid, like the get under the desk drills?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so Ironcaster, they taught, like Pops, when Pops was a kid, they taught them that if you hid underneath your school desk during a nuclear attack, you'd be okay. Yep. Don't look out the window because of the flash, but if you get under your desk, you'll be okay. And I don't think it was until the until the late 70s, early 80s, when you started to see some of the stuff, that the public was made aware of the fact that mutual assured destruction or MAD, which is what this movie is basically about. That's it. There is no hiding under your desk. There is no don't look at the light because you're going to be vaporized before you ever see the light. It
dates back to the Kennedy administration, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and things like that. It was way worse before me. It was way worse until like the 50s into the 60s. Some other folks in chat probably can give you more specifics. And it was very much into my elementary school age. And by the time I got into like middle school, I'm pretty sure it was gone. Once movies started to really kind of incorporate a depiction of massive devastation, it becomes such a ridiculous thing that no one bothered doing it anymore. They did do it with tornadoes. And of course, I'm in Florida, so there'd be hurricanes. But there was really sort of like a common sense conversation of you're not looking at the glass because when the glass breaks, you don't want it to come into your face. And the only reason you're under the desk is because if the ceiling starts to fall in, hopefully it will minimize. It was like more common sense grounded, but it was the exact same emergency drill as we had in like 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade. I definitely remember it in elementary school for sure. I don't remember it when they got to middle school, if we had it or not. I don't remember, but I know that we definitely did it at some point. But I know it was way worse. You couldn't go home and complain about it to your parents because that's how they were like, yeah, of course we've been doing that for 10 years. What are you talking about? 20.
I got those same tornado. I got those same lessons on tornadoes and hug against the lockers sort of thing.
Yeah, but Loki's right.
Help you in a nuclear blast.
Loki's point's well taken. Like it was so absurd that we were doing that for a quote nuclear attack. So, keep going. Let's get past a lot of this stuff here.
I just want to point out that he just walks out with the tour group.
Yep. Just lots of convenience. It's we have to there are some of those moments of contrivances and things like that. It's like. He calls her and she answers the phone. The phone's not tapped, and he gets her to give him money to kind of meet him, and things like that all kind of work themselves out. It's all okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to put this film on a pedestal. It has its contrivances and things like that. I love this scene because it does kind of always get me to do a double take every time it happens. I have to be honest. Every time he gets me.
But in a way though, it I would say it might actually work though. The just kind of going out with the group. I mean, there's a logic to it. It's like a face in a crowd.
And you can tour NORAD, by the way. That is a thing. I got to do that. But God, it was probably 25, 30 years ago when I was a kid. You can tour NORAD. They do it in the summer.
Yeah, Matt's been a little more spin on the fireball and some of the philosophy. USSR, since their missiles are not even 20% accurate. Yeah. Let's see. The TV movies definitely were more, ahead of the film. The films were a little scared. They'd scare people into too much of a panic. People took movies really, really serious. So,
it's just TV.
Yeah. So tons of other folks been coming in here. Hey to all you folks. If I missed you, I'm sorry about that. So,
this year was them having tracked down the scientist who developed the Whopper, or Joshua they would go to call it, because it was the password winds up being named after his son, the scientist's son who had passed away.
Yep. Yeah, and this was fine. He goes on basically, an anti-nuclear war, nuclear weapon diatribe. He's talking about, basically, his argument is very flawed, because he's basically trying to say it looks like humans have had their chance, whatever. And he's kind of pointing to evolutionary moments in time, like the dinosaurs. But the problem is this is not an evolutionary decision. This is actually like a man decision, and it's an error based on a computer that he's created. But that doesn't get pointed out in the film. It just kind of keeps moving the story along. I will say this. He's actually very, very believable as this nerd, as this scientist guy. It's one of those things where I wasn't quite sure how I'd feel about it watching it, and I actually liked him a lot. I thought it was very good. So,
well, Falcon was supposed to be like a Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, sort of kind of like
character.
That. Yeah.
I had read they were wanting to make that John. They were wanting to cast that as John Lennon.
Oh, I didn't see that part. Yeah.
But this was like probably right around the time he had died. So
it's a couple years after his death. Yeah. Chiefs point out that active military and that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely a big deal. I agree.
Yep, I remember Cheyenne Mountain from Stargate. That's where I best remember it.
Yeah, travel times are also a little fast and loose. Yeah, Chief, good point. You got to get to the Jeep so we can point out something that happens with the Jeep.
Oh, wait. It's like there's like 80 pages of.
Oh, I'm sure this film has been like every single frame has probably been chronicled in this. Because again, 40th anniversary, guys, 40 years. Ooh, hits me hard.
Look at those pants.
Jeep, I know.
Look at her in them pants. How high do those pants go up her? Well,
they cover her belly button for sure.
Yep.
That's what they'd wear back then. So you get this Jeep. This Jeep is barreling out of control, racing their way back, and it actually rolls over. It crashes. That is actually an accident. That was actually a stunt accident. So they had to kind of do a quick script rewrite and have them get out and start running. So that actually was impromptu. It just didn't happen. And so you guys know the history of where this is filmed. Here's a little clip so you guys get a feel for where this is. There you go.
No way.
Yeah. So this is a little famous area in Los Angeles where that tunnel has been used a couple different times. So
they use that same tunnel in Stargate too, the movie.
Okay. Yep. So I wasn't able to get all of the clips because try to lift a little piece here, somebody had a couple pieces kind of threaded together, so I was able to get into there. So Anonymous is here. Boy, he'd have some expertise as well, being about the same age as I am too. He's making a comment about those high waist jeans. Yeah. Making a comeback. Yeah, unchanged vehicles for like 50 years. I know, it's funny. So, but now the movie gets. To me, this is when the movie gets really, really fun and interesting for me personally. Where I really, really just love this final act. This manufactured suspense and like a thriller of like what's going to happen, how's it going to play out and shape up and I love that when he kind of first comes into the room, he's very nonchalant, like, "Hey, how you doing, John? I see the wife's got you doing that." And it's like he's just not even fazed by the fact that we're all gonna die in a nuclear war, the apocalypse. He's like, "Yeah, whatever. How you doing? Good to see you."
Oh,
And
wife still picks out your ties.
yeah, look at you. Yeah. So, I don't know. Again, on the rewatch, Loki, what was this like? And it's been like a decade for you to see this movie. What's it like, kind of sitting through? Man, this moment where you're like, holy cow, this movie was so far ahead. This movie shaped everything.
It did. And this is the big payoff. This is what everybody's waiting on. This is the money shot. This is the big moment. Tic-tac-toe or the final moments of the United States and the USSR and pretty much everybody else on Earth. He's not dicking around. See that face? You look at that face, you know he's not messing around.
Yeah.
He's not playing any games, and he wants to know why this damn computer is playing games. He is very serious and wants some butts right now.
Yeah. So at this point in the movie, they're seeing screens and they're seeing sensors and everything going off as though the Soviet Union is throwing everything at the United States. Submarines, air missiles, everything is under attack. They've had people on the ground and whatever who have previously said, we see nothing, we don't have anything. So the pitch from the scientist, Falcon, is you don't really think they would do that, right? Like, this doesn't make any sense, whatever. So he kind of calls the military's expertise to task. Did that pay off for you, Ironcaster? Were you kind of like, oh, all right, I can kind of see that?
Oh, absolutely. I just kind of, you know, a little hindsight, kind of looking back on sort of the Cold War fear mongering, that constant fear of like the other side's going to do is so close. We're just a hair's breadth away from total annihilation.
Yeah.
That they're in that constant state of paranoia about, oh, is this a Russian agent? I mean, we saw that Matthew Broderick here. It's like, yeah, I can absolutely believe that. Like, they would be so convinced of all this.
It was so bad in the 80s. I've always tried to explain it as though they kind of had you so afraid of Reagan. You would think that he was sleeping with the red button and he would roll over on it in his sleep by accident. That's kind of how fragile they painted everything. Like, he would accidentally push the button or something. Like, he personally had a button in his house by the bed and he would push it back. It was so crazy in hindsight, but it was kind of part of this propaganda of us versus them. So again, I think, Loki, you'd have to speak to these graphics. I mean, holy cow. It is truly amazing what they were able to accomplish, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is, like I said, this is all animated. These are all scenes. It took them 7 months to make all this insane nonsense. But this is what MAD is, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a reason why it's called MAD. There's a reason why it's called mutually assured destruction. Anyone fires anything, then it's thermonuclear war and on global scale. Everybody gets hit. Anybody that could possibly attack you, anyone on Earth that could possibly retaliate against a nuclear strike gets blown off the map. That means allies, that means enemies, that means everybody. It means if you attack us, we're going to blow everyone up. There is no way to win. There's no way to win this game. And they have to teach Whopper, there's no way to win this game. There is no winning move. There is no opening strategy that's going to work, that's going to put you out ahead of time. Once they come off the rack, that's it. Everyone's going down.
And the only way to bridge that gap between the game it's trying to play and a lesson to learn was, David points out, well, make it play tic-tac-toe. Because basically it'd just be a constant game of stalemate. So therefore, eventually it has to be a game of give up. So then once it kind of connects the dots that that's even a possibility, it applies that same logic to this. And that's what it's running through what you had up there a minute ago, Ironcaster, all of these different variations of the end of the world. Like, the Portugal Revolution, the Pacific Maneuver. I love all these names, by the way. I tried to pause over a lot and I couldn't get them all, But in hindsight, I'm like, all these screenshots, I should go back and read some of them because I was like, I bet there's some really funny ones in there.
The Mediterranean divers.
Honest, you never know. The Moroccan minimal. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. No winner. So, yes. Yeah, that's so good. And yes, Anonymous brought up there's a band, if you guys don't know, there's this band called Genesis and a music video called Land of Confusion, which had puppets. And in there, the puppets, Reagan plays a buffoon, basically going to create World War III. Oh, David does get his he gets his kiss. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see the like and with. You want to see like the big celebration. Everyone's like throwing their hats up, like we just saved the world. The guy gets the girl. Everyone can go home happy.
Yeah, but nobody went home where is he in the Breakfast Club? Ironcaster, you tell me where he is in the Breakfast Club. She's there and she ain't happy. She's all like dressed in black and pitiful and shit.
But Loki, he got Ferris Bueller though. But here's the thing: if we could go back in War Games, if we could go back and do it, because they didn't do it back then, but if we could do it, we did have one at Ferris Bueller, but it wasn't commonplace. John Hughes did it. If we had a credit scene, it would be the military bringing David the computers that he wanted at his house, and because they were hiring him. Yeah, that'd be my credit scene, because that's what happens. They hire you.
Yeah, they hire you.
So until he graduates, he can have this computer. Then he goes and works for them.
Yeah, the generals are leaning like, tell you what, son, we're gonna make this all go away, but
you have to come work for the NSA.
How are you feeling about Colorado? You like it here?
He gave you the professor treatment.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. So there's an older classic movie that plays this concept, Colossus, the Forbidden Project, which takes the idea of giving AI controlled nuclear weapons a decidedly different direction. Okay. I'm not real familiar with that at all. So I'll write that down. Anonymous is not alone. Not alone. Fletcher's out there listening. Hey, be careful driving around. So let's see. Oh, this is the fan cap. Thank you, Ironcaster, for sending me that link. Let me open that.
You gave me a site, and I happen to find this one because, like, the problem was there's a lot of movies that like we've either covered or, that other site just didn't have. And here's another site I happen to come across. So,
cool. Yeah, Short Circuit was another movie that's done by this director and that she comes back for. So she's hired us. Yeah, JT, that's good call on that one too. So. Yeah. All right. So look, final thoughts on War Games. Because man, I tell you what, I will probably watch this again at the end of the year. I watch this every year. I probably will watch it again because I don't usually watch it this early. I usually watch it in the fall for some reason. I don't know why that's my routine because I don't think of it more of a summer movie. But yeah, I love it. I love this movie that much. I enjoy it.
Oh no, this is great. This is like the origins. Yeah. So every hacker film has this as like an origin story to it. And the fact that there was no public internet then, there's a lot of misunderstanding about what a computer could do and couldn't do. They do a very great, excellent job of going, okay, this computer can use the phone line to talk to this other computer. So as he's scanning for computers to talk to, his computer is auto-dialing phone numbers and waiting for that tone that's going to tell it, hey, I can talk to this thing. And then once it starts talking to it and starts saying, hey, what do you do? It gives you that information of, well, this is what this is. Oh, this is a bank. Oh, this is a computer at a terminal. But he doesn't know what he's connected to. That was a possibility then. You had no idea what the hell you were talking to. So you just knew, hey, I'm talking to another computer. My computer's talking to yours. What can I do here? It does a really good job of explaining just how all this worked then, because there was no AOL. There was no massive internet movement. There was no, oh, well, I need help with my homework. I'm going to look this up online. There was none of that shit existed then. You still had to go books. You still had to use microfiche. You still had to, Pops was talking about that before we got started. I remember having to go in microfilm and
it sucked. It's so bad.
Yeah. So no, this is great. It should have won awards. I think it got nominated for 3 awards, but it should have knocked it out of the park. This is classic. This is classic. A classic hacker movie and a movie about a game. How many video game movies do you know that are like absolutely excellent that are nominated for awards? Not many.
True. That's very, very true.
Well, this was 1983, and there were no good movies that came out that year at all.
Oh, don't start with me with your nonsense. Don't start with me.
I mean, aside from like Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I know. The list is long. So again, I'm not saying it's the worst year movies. This is my nexus. I refer to this nexus area for any of you guys that are new. Like about the time that you're age 10 to age 25, there's like this. It's like this stuff that's in pop culture and movies and sports and all this stuff. It kind of has this framework of love that you attach to because your experience and your exposure to it is so new and exciting and whatever. So those things tend to be even more nostalgic or hit you in the feels even more so. So Mrs. Pops does not mind war games. I know that's a shock because she doesn't like most of these it's just one of those though she can kind of ignore that one. So that's either one she won't be in the room, it's just on, or if she's in the room, she'll be piddling on something else that she's doing. So that's actually one that she doesn't mind at all. The ones that I don't know. We'll come up with another example another time of one that would bother her. Like Star Wars won't bother her when I watch Jedi here again. Things like that don't bother her. But like Enter the Dragon, she'd be like, no, you got to turn this crap off. I'm not, this can't be on. Yeah, I don't know why. It's Mrs. Pops. So yeah, Mrs. Pops scale. Mrs. Pops scale is different. She is a huge child of the 80s. Make sure I don't misrepresent Mrs. Pops. Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire. I mean, all this stuff is home run for her. She's John Hughes. Yeah, she's a child of the 80s, especially the music. More the music, the more the better. Yeah. So, AC is here. Hey, I don't think I said hey to you though. So, oh my gosh, mimeographs, Chi. Holy crap, mimeographs. Oh, that went on all through the 80s. I graduated high school and they were still using it because I used it my senior year to make flyers. Yeah. That's a story for another stream. Why I would even need to make flyers. So, remember the first Usenet, a bulletin board like 85 to your VIC 20 C64. Yeah, okay, yeah. And before there was Napster, AOL private chat room, Fire Nice, AOL chat, yeah, AOL's. You've got mail. Godsend, use dial phones. Yeah. All right, Bobby, you take care of yourself, my friend. Yeah, Thursday, it's going to be Star Wars Day. We will definitely talk about that here in a moment. The older movies are qualitatively better, 98% of the crap made today. I know, Shield. Well, we have to kind of spend our time, trying to, discuss maybe some newer stuff, but also trying to direct towards some of these things and then trying to explain, like we've been able to get into that. I think with Loki, we were talking about, like, the idea that this stuff isn't really fiction. We really could open a locked door like that. We really could.
Yeah, you could.
You could get into your phone and make a free call. Like, this stuff wasn't fiction. It really was like that. You had to go to the library and look on microfiche. You had to go look at the library. You had to go to the library and do the Dewey Decimal System. Yes. And go to the card catalog and find your books. And yeah, some good stuff. Any last thoughts, Ironcaster?
Well, I have one last little thing to show off here, if you don't mind.
No, of course.
So, I've made mention of this game quite a bit.
Yep.
The tie-in, and I want to show off to you guys just a little tidbit of it from like the very start, because I think this is kind of entertaining to kind of gives you a sense of what to expect out of an attempt to make an RTS out of it.
DEFCON 1.
Is your war a total bore? Well, no more! Now, from the company that brought you such games as Chrono Chess, Chrono Tic-Tac-Toe, and Chrono Biological Warfare, Chrono Vision is proud to announce the arrival of its latest and greatest war simulation. ORAD's got nothing on us. Now you're in control.
Oh, look at the graphics and how good that was. That was really, really spot on the movie.
Chrono Vision Is it a game or is it real?
Interesting. I love the stock footage too. That was really pretty good. I like that. That's cool. Yeah.
So it supposes Whopper as effectively having a bunch of like giant mech suits, robots to fight against that. And you're so you can either play as you go in much like in the movie. In the game, you could play as either side, so you can play as the NORAD forces, or you can play as Whopper, in this attempt to like for global conquest.
All right,
it's a fun little game. I just thought I'd show you a little something of it.
Well, Jana, if there's someone that will do it, it's probably this guy, because crazy stuff. Yeah,
you got to do lights too. We demand lights in the beard.
I mean, the best
Make
I have.
Make sure you use battery powered ones and not ones that go into it. Yeah, because that's good. Yeah, you don't want to light your beard on fire. But yeah, we need Christmas lights.
I don't want to do it.
We'll have to send him some lights. So, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
Because the audience demands it. And who am I to turn against chat? Chat is always right.
Anyone else wondering how many clips he has? He's going to keep pulling them up. He just keeps coming and coming. It's all back and forth. Oh my gosh.
No. I
was like, we're getting a little carried away. You're making me stressed. I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay, I have 2 left.
You got to put one in your hair like a pick up at the top. You got to, like it's a pick. There you go.
One for the earlobe. Wow.
Oh, we got to balance this out. Yeah, we're good.
All right. I've seen everything. I can go down now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know if this is a new high or a new low, but we're there, and we were having. Oh my gosh, he's going the eyebrows, Loki. What the heck is wrong with this man?
Nope.
You thought the gum was bad. This is probably worse than the gum. Oh, look at that! Just pulling on his flesh like that. Ew.
No, it's literally just the hair or the eyebrow.
Ironcaster's gonna show up one day. And he's gonna have a whole bunch of metal in his face, and I'm gonna be like, nope.
I've gone punk now.
Wow. I'm just going to let Chris Persia come up with some sort of meme that's going to turn into. That's no doubt about that.
I'm his younger brother, apparently.
Oh, Copa. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Shieldwall. He didn't go below the waist for good. Eyebrows. Yeah, I know. There's people are crazy. I know. Larry. Well, I know. I didn't know I needed to see this, but now I have. So clip this quite literally. Da-da-da. Yes.
I think I got them all.
Yeah, we'll need to. So, wow. How am I supposed to follow that? Okay. So Loki, what's going on this week? What's tomorrow's YouTube Wednesday, right?
Oh yeah, we got YouTube talk. We got YouTube talk tomorrow. We've got. I don't know if we're gonna have the round table tomorrow or not. So I don't know about that, guys. I know me and Adega will be back Thursday night. We've got. I don't know who the hell is coming on. If anybody is coming on Thursday, then we've got Friday with the Rooster and the Lady Arwen Avalon, who's just happy to be here, y'all.
I think this Thursday, you're talking Star Wars Day on this Thursday.
Oh, yeah, I am, aren't I? I'm going to have Pops on Thursday.
You are on my schedule. Just like
God help me, man. I have no idea what's going on. So I'm getting ready to move and planning a wedding and getting ready for my daughter to be here next month. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm absolutely out of it. So Yeah, that's why I say, I don't know what the hell's going on Thursday. And Pops is like, really? You don't? Because I got it down right here. Yeah, I don't. I need to get, I put up my whiteboard. Everything's, almost everything in this room has been packed, besides some odds and ends. So it's just, no,
it's no problem. So Star Wars Day will start very early on Thursday. We'll get to that in just a moment. What about you, Ironcaster? What's going on?
Oh, let's see. Friday, I'll be on with Nick Weiser for the Friday Night Comic Shop Talk, where we are on episode 99 of that show. Meaning next week will be episode 100. I think we're just kind of doing a bit of an open chat this week, and then next week we're gonna have a bit of a celebration for that.
Very cool.
Saturday is my pack day because Saturday morning I will be on with Brandon the Anime Guy for the first of what will be, I think we're talking a monthly series where we're going to start delving into the 1,000+ chapter epic that is One Piece.
Cool.
Later that afternoon, I'll be on with T-Shirt Historian for the Week in Geek, where, by the way, apparently Wizards of the Coast has decided that, yes, we need to now suddenly increase prices and give Ironcaster something to talk about.
Who didn't see that one coming, brother?
Yeah.
And then Saturday night, I'll be on with, or rather, I should say, some of my better looking roommates will be on with the fine folks of the Cotton Council over on Snowdub's channel.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Busy, man. Lots of stuff going on for everybody. It's going to be great. Tomorrow is comic book day, and I will not have a comic book talk, but we will do some reviews. So yes, please check out tomorrow morning. I'll go through some different comic books, and I got a clip or two as well of one comic book recommend from Matt, the Unbearable 73, and also we did a read through, a first reaction of a very old 10 center. Just happened to have a virtual copy. We just did that. We just went into it and just started talking. It's an old Western comic, 10 centers. That was kind of fun. So all that'll be tomorrow. It's not scheduled yet, but it'll get finished. And then Thursday, Star Wars Day. Star Wars Day, the real Star Wars Day on the 25th. Whether you celebrate the 4th or not, doesn't matter. This is not about, fighting and infighting. It's about trying to cherish what started on May 25th, 1977. It also happens to be the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, 5 Central. I'll be on live with the folks over in Japan. So it'll be Wakasashi's Tea House, Ginger Ninja, Angry Canadian. We'll be talking about it from the beginning, what it was like. And we'll talk about our own experiences, our own Star Wars journeys, and all of that. 9 o'clock, I'll be live with this guy over here. We're going to talk about, probably is Star Wars thirsty. Star Wars fans thirsty. I'm not sure how he'll word it, but that's where I'll be. There will also be a premiere on my channel, though, of just other fill-in type content, whether it be me talking about Star Wars comic books, trading cards, different kinds of things like that. And then we go through different live streams throughout the day. The playlist is in chat, so we'll be there. Oh, look at that. Yeah, video game. We do talk about the video games a little bit and some of the pre-recorded stuff. Some folks that just kind of come up from time to time. We didn't do it. I don't think I did a special pre-record with anybody or anything like that. There's a pre-record video with this guy, Loki, who talked about the expanded universe. We have a live stream talking about Empire Strikes Back at 6 p.m. We do Return of the Jedi. So stuff kind of all day on Thursday. It's like a total thing. I just think that it's a way for fans to just grab onto what we love about it all rather than getting caught up in all the negativity, what it's become, arguing, fighting, whatever, who cares? And I got to be honest, one of the biggest things that my take home is, guys, is that so many folks don't know. Like, the world is just so different that sometimes it's a little hard for people to get their head around the Star Wars phenomenon. It took over a year for us to get action figures. How the expanded universe filled in the gap when we thought kind of Star Wars was kind of over. Joker Voice comes in. He did a great video talking about the Clone Wars and kind of what it kind of meant. It kind of fill in this space. Padawannabe, which you guys have seen some of the stuff this guy owns. He cracked open the prequel toys and just over an hour we're going through toys and didn't even scratch the surface of toys. This guy has so much stuff. So that's going to be really fun doing that one. Yeah, so yeah, that'll be our Thursday before we even get to the rest of the content on my channel. But guys, it's awesome doing this kind of stuff. It's fun being able to hang out with it. What is this? Everybody's Thursday. Okay, yes, but what is this? 25th is also Towel Day and Discworld Lilacs Day. Luis Sparrow, I don't even know what to say to that. So don't even know. Larry, awesome, man. You saw opening day. There you go, man. Cool. I'll make sure you check us out on that day. There'll be a couple live streams where I kind of opened it up and just let everybody come in with some different memories or collectibles, whatever they want to do when I have time to, and we want to try to do that because there's no way to include everybody. We want to try to do the best we can to let some people come in and maybe have their thing. So the Trial Wednesdays over on Chris Gore's channel is kind of fun. So yeah, if you enjoy that kind of stuff, go check that out. So Hitchhiker's Guide and Towel Day. Okay. Yep. Cool. That's right. Okay. Sorry, I missed the reference for a moment. I thought she actually meant there is like those kinds of things are like every single day of the year. There's all these ridiculous. There's Pots and Pans Day, and just like it's like what on earth is But let's see. So what's coming up next? Next week is King Kong 1933. Right, we're gonna head into Kaijun. So the OG stop motion 90 years. I gotta be honest, man. Rewatching that movie, it made me angry. Like they pulled this off 90 years ago, and now we're just so lazily relying on computers. Kind of made me mad. Movie's so much fun. Love it. Can't wait to do that. Kind of reminisce about the groundbreaking elements of a movie that's 90 years old. It's wonderful. And then Kaijun, rock and roll, Jurassic Park. We'll have Mechagodzilla Day. Kind of go through the history of Mechagodzillas. And then I don't know, we really pinned down exactly how we're going to do King Ghidorah, but we're doing King Ghidorah after that. So, yeah. And then, guys, believe it or not, the last show of June, it's our 50th show. It's our 50th show. I know. It's also the week of my birthday, but it's our 50th show. I know. I'll be off. So July 4th, there won't be a show. It'll be a replay show. But yeah, 50 shows already. And that's not counting Halo. We've had some replay shows and things like that, but 50 actual unique shows. So yeah, already at 50. Hard to believe, Loki. You thought you were just talking Halo. Next thing you know, you're 50 shows. I know.
I come on to talk about Halo because I love Halo, and yeah, now you've had 50 different shows, and I think I've made almost every single one of them. I think I missed one or two, but that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really keep track, but I can tell you this is a blast, and I look forward to this so much each week. I enjoy all of you folks in chat. You make this worth doing. It's always fun that we can do this and hang out, talk about a movie. Hopefully some folks have never seen War Games. I saw that in chat. Some people haven't seen it in a long time. I saw that in chat. I know Loki had said he hadn't seen it for several years. I think that's the fun part of doing this, is that we can kind of come together and have those type of conversations. And that's what makes Talk Hard so much fun. So any outgoing thoughts, Loki?
Always have your towel.
Ironcaster?
Talk hard, game on.
Talk hard, game on. With that, folks, look, just make tomorrow a little bit better than today. Be blessed, talk hard, and always make time to chill. If you don't know how to chill, let Bob show you the way.
Ross, all I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama. You don't want to cause a problem.